Hey, this is Dean DeMarzo here on Dean Talks Music, and we're remaking Glass Animals Heat Waves from scratch, live on stream. We're gonna be remaking Glass Animals Heat Waves from scratch, and this should be interesting. This is a song I don't know super well yet, so I do have it here in Ableton already, and this is interesting in that I have the stems all broken out into drums, guitar, vocals, and bass. There's a site called splitter.ai that'll split an audio track you give it into component parts, into different stems, which is cool. One thing to consider, y'all won't be able to hear this, unfortunately, or I'll get a copyright strike, which is annoying. I'll be listening to these and remaking tracks, but y'all will be able to hear what I'm working on in Ableton, and we'll have a full working track soon enough. We're going to start by remaking the drums. This is a pretty straightforward 808 based kit. I could just bring in the 808 kit that's already in Ableton, but I like placing my samples by hand, honestly. So we're gonna go through and just kind of pull 808 samples that we like. I have a nice set here. We're gonna try to find some that generally match what I'm hearing in this track. This one's gonna be just a little quieter than the one after it, you can hear. Give it that accent on that big strong beat. Let's find a snare. It sounds like a snare layered with a clap for this one. And again, we'll be sticking to the 808 sounds as that's what it seems like they're using. Maybe there's not even a snare there. It's hard to say. Definitely a clap though, so we'll be focusing on that sound. Clap is kind of shorter than that. I'm gonna try to find a different one. I think it's just a clap. I'm wrong. I do think this is bigger on TikTok right now, Tosero. So it's wild. Looking at this song on the Billboard charts, it has been around over a year now. Here's Heat Waves, and Heat Waves is on top right now. It has been on the chart for 59 weeks, over a year. So it must have recently picked back up for some reason, and that is absolutely crazy. Okay, we need a hi-hat now. And that is just a simple closed hat. We're gonna adjust it a little bit to die off a little faster. That's a pretty solid drum loop. Something I'm noticing from the original track, the kick has a little bit more harmonic information in it, a little more crunchiness in the upper register. So we're gonna saturate it just slightly. And to help control what we're getting out of that a little better, I'm gonna shorten it. Cool. Okay, so we got our drum loop. Now let's build out kind of this first section of the song. Oh, there's one more kick here. There's one tiny little one. You can even see it in the waveform. You can see I'm just reading the waveform above. I have the drum stem broken out here. And then it stops suddenly to let this little tom hit happen. Now let's get that tom hit sampled to see if we can find tom hits that work for that. Let's move to our next part, which is the guitar hook. This is kind of a really important part of this. I'm just going to group up our drum tracks so we can keep track. I'm not super picky about guitar sounds. We'll see how this one fits what we're doing. Okay, so this is one of those guitar parts that sounds kind of complicated and isn't, as most things are in music. They sound more complex than they really are. Let's try that. I'm gonna try finger picking it, see if we can get the right sound. Cool, I can do that without messing up though, hang on. We were so close. Oh. Now, I am also hearing it an octave up from there. Let's see if we can get away with just pitch shifting this. Anytime you pitch shift audio, it's gonna get glitchy and weird. Like, take a listen to this. This is shifted an octave out of range. Actually sounds really good. It should not sound that good. Let's see if we can make it sound crappy. There we go. You can hear the graininess of it. That's what pitch shifting sounded like forever, but now we have this complex algorithm that literally does it perfectly, and that's That's unhealthy. So quantizing just takes what's already there and snaps it to the grid. You can see they're all just a little bit off right now, and I'm just going to snap them all perfectly in time. Cool. I think it is only this first half that plays in the intro. It really sounds like it's recorded really slowly too, like almost like it was done at half speed. I think we're gonna do that. I think we're gonna record this at half speed and then speed it up to match that tone, because it just sounds like so like a vinyl record that was sped up in the intro. It's really weird. We're gonna try this at half speed. We got that, and now we're going to pitch shift it up without warping it. And because we recorded it at half speed, shifting it up an octave doubles the speed. That actually got me exactly the sound I wanted. Sweet. Cool. Now a chorus is an effect that gives kind of this this wavery, shimmery sound. Here's the guitars as they are. And let's add some chorus. That's nice. Okay, I think there's some bass we have to add as well. There we go. Think I got that right? The last chord change is kind of weird. Cool. The guitar and the chords do not play the same chord at the end, which messes with me. I'm just gonna listen closely to it one more time, see if there's any parts I missed. I feel like we got most of it, right? That sounds like the song. Okay, there's a subtle pad of some kind in the background. A pad is a synthesizer. It just plays chords. It sounds kind of warm and open in the background. And we're gonna try Serum for this. It is so quiet. It's because everything else is so loud. Hang on. We're just gonna use an EQ to cut out some of those harsh frequencies. That last chord is so wrong. I just can't. Now let's get some of this going on a reverb track too. We're gonna bring in my usual reverb, which is Valhalla Vintage Verb. Absolutely love it. Let's use this on 80s mode. Playing the hits of the 80s, 90s, and today. Is today just everything since the year 2000? That bothers me. Does that bother anyone else? I feel really good about that. That feels a lot closer than I thought I was gonna get, I'll be honest. Now, the good news is, most of this song is a lot of those same concepts just applied over and over, so we can, to a certain degree, just copy and paste what we've got already, which is nice. So all I think about is you. Heat lights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Make you happier now. Our drum part is pretty similar. Okay, so this speaks to something really important in song arrangement, and that is the fact that you are constantly playing with tension and with intensity and with complexity, changing it upwards and downwards to keep the momentum of a song going. I had a professor in college who said, if you're not changing something every 10 seconds in a song, you're losing the audience. And that doesn't have to be a big change. That doesn't have to be a huge section change every 10 seconds. It could be something as simple as going from an eighth note hi-hat pattern like this and what do we have about 10 seconds later? Changes to a 16th note hi-hat. That is just the right amount of time to introduce a new element. And most of the difference between the verse and the chorus is in the vocals. It's that we have these surrounding vocals come in with the "sometimes all I think about is you" all around us, right? Nothing really changes that drastically from the instrumental. Our bass comes back in. Actually, was our bass here in the verse? I think it was. Yeah. Okay, we have one little drop here. That's way too intense. Let's bring that down. We're back in on our chorus. There's a really subtle crash cymbal in there too. And lastly, let's do some light mastering. We're just gonna throw Slate FGX on here. Slate FGX is gonna bring things up, make them a little punchier. Let's take a listen to that. There we go. We're gonna bounce that out, and we're gonna do the vocals in Pro Tools. For a lot of reasons I'll explain when we get there. It's gonna help me auto-tune the vocals better. It just gives me a lot more control over every little aspect of what I'm doing as far as editing and recording multiple takes and all that stuff goes. It's just a lot easier to do in Pro Tools. And yes, I am stalling while this exports. We're gonna start with the chorus and then we'll work out from there. Sometimes all I think about is you. I keep wanting to say heat waves in the middle of June. That's not the lyrics. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. And then we have our harmony, or what you might consider the melody. It's hard to say. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been... Damn it. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. We have this little intro too where he sings kind of a different line. Last night all I think about is you. Don't stop, baby, you can walk through. Don't want, all I think about is you. You know that I'm never gonna lose. That's weird. It doesn't like follow any of the structure of the song that happens right in the middle here. And then we finally have this I'm gonna sing it in a normal register, and then we're gonna pitch shift it down an octave to get that like chopped and screwed kind of feel. Roachama, wiggle in the vision, heat waves, I'm swimming in the mirror. There's that. Let's do verse now. Usually I put something on TV, so I never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood laying on the screen. Now this is tough. This is getting into a range I'm not great at singing in. You just need a better life than this. You need something I could never give. Fake water all across the road. It's gone now, the night has come, but... Now we edit, and that's gonna take the form of a few different things. First is what we call comping, which is just kind of taking different pieces of different takes and putting them together. I've already got them all on the same line, but I'm adding a little fade in between so they don't glitch out when I'm switching from one track to another. And then the next thing I like to do, I won't do it as maybe obsessively as I would for a real production, but I will go through and just kind of adjust the volume really on a word by word basis at times. Like if I have a word that's standing out, I'll cut it down a little bit in volume. The ones that are quiet, I'll bring up to try and get an overall level response before it even hits the compressor. And I know that's kind of what we're using the compressor for, but this will do that job before it even gets to the compressor, meaning we get more even compression throughout, and that's important. Now here's the part where we auto-tune, where we make me into a good singer. So here's how auto-tune works, and this is a little frustrating. You play it into the program. So I set it up to track, and then I hit play. I am not a soprano. I am a high baritone at best, but we're gonna use the tenor setting. Late nights in the middle of June, heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Cool. Teen auto-tuning, my God. Yes, I use autotune on everything so much. Autotune is showing you two things at once. We have this line in the foreground, kind of. You can see, if I move it up here, you can see this line here. This is representing the pitch. When that goes up, I'm singing higher, and when it goes low, I'm singing lower. But this white waveform in the background is volume. So now I can see both volume and pitch in this, and that helps me just identify what words I'm tuning. And then I'm just gonna literally draw the pitch I wanted to sing into here. So I'm gonna select all that. I'm gonna turn the retune speed down a little. You can hear, here's what zero retune speed sounds like. It's full T-Pain. Sometimes all I think about is you. And that's not natural sounding, so we're gonna pull it back to like 30. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Cool. And we're going to render, and that commits it to the actual audio itself. Now, the good news is our next line is exactly the same, right? So we can just track the pitch in, and we don't have to do it by hand again. It's just going to apply what's already there. Now, this one's a little different. Our first half is different, right? And because this is a harmony, we can go a little harder on the tuning. I tend to tune harmonies a little more coarsely than leads, because you can get away with more back there, and they need to be tighter in order to fit in better. By that, let's take a listen. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Something is wrong, and it's that this note was tuned too high. Sometimes that happens, and that's why you always leave it up before you hear it. Let's listen to that. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's tune this verse real quick. Real mess of a verse. We're gonna tune this to relaxed now because I know my delivery was really off on some notes. Usually I put and this lets it be kind of more chill with what notes it thinks you're singing. So we have our voice. We're going to start by transposing down an octave, and then we're going to adjust what's called the throat length, sometimes called the formant. And this is kind of, so formant or throat length is the difference between, it's the difference between this kind of tone and this kind of tone. You have a really tiny throat length, or you have a really deep throat length, really like large larynx shape. So that was the same pitch. I was saying that at the same pitch, and I could do that at any pitch. Like, here's a nice middle note, ah. Here's a high throat position, ah, oh, and low, oh, ah. And so that's what we're adjusting here. So we can push this down, and we'll get something a lot lower sounding. That's what we're looking for. That's it. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Okay, so now we're going to jump back into Ableton now that we have these vocals. I'm going to select all of them and bounce these tracks. Mono waves. There we go. Done. Easy. And we can hop back into Ableton. And here is where I like to get really organized with grouping these into an instrumental and then bringing in our vocals here. Now let's see where we had those. Sometimes all I think about is you. Okay, let's get these off onto separate tracks. This is chopped vocals. Can't make you happier now. Here's our chorus vocals. Let's just get one of these sounding really good. Okay, so this is Virtual Mix Rack by Stephen Slate, and this is what I use on pretty much every vocal channel I mix, pretty much anything I mix, to be honest. I like to also put a de-esser in front. This just cuts down on the sibilant, so you can hear the difference. Sometimes all I think about is you. Listen to the S's. Now here's without it. Sometimes all I think... It's a little more in your face. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. So I'm going to increase the brightness by adding a bit of up above like 14K, just really high-end shimmer, just kind of the breathiness of the voice. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. We're going to start compressing this vocal as well with a nice 4:1 ratio. That's hitting it pretty hard. And I'm going to push this until I see gain reduction in the 5 to 7 dB range. This shows me how much it's getting compressed. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can make you happier now. Let's listen to the before and after on that vocal. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. And after, just to show you exactly what I did, I boosted about 15K by about 8 decibels, 8 or 9 decibels. Not afraid to get really heavy with the boost. I cut 3K a little bit. You can hear, if I add it back in, you can hear the kind of nasal boxiness it was adding. Let's put it back in. Sometimes all I think about is there's too much. Late nights in the middle. You can hear how much that clarifies things when I pull it out. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can make you happier now. So it's doing a lot. It's very helpful. And then finally, I'm compressing it. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. And this is modeled on something called a distressor, which has a very specific characteristic that just adds a little grit to a voice. It's really nice. And then we're pushing the volume just back up to right around the 0 mark. Sometimes all I think about is you. And that's our vocal channel. So we're going to group that, and we're going to take that on over to our other 3 vocal tracks. We're going to pan those harmony vocals left and right. Doesn't sound like they have any delay going on, any echo effects, but there is certainly reverb happening. And I'm just going to drop a reverb effect right on this track. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Okay, now our verse needs that same vocal channel we're going to use as a starting point, although I think we're going to make it be a little more upfront because it's all by itself. It's not stacked with like 3 other vocals, right? This needs to stand on its own a little stronger. Let me just listen to the original, see what they're doing again. There you are. This is sounding pretty close to what I want. Usually I put something on TV. Kind of want to try a little bit of micro shift. Cool. Let's get our intro vocals placed, and I think we are just about done. This is sounding really good. What micro shift does, this is what I'm using here, it takes it from a single solitary sound right in the middle of your ears, and it duplicates it and shifts one down and shifts one up just the tiniest bit, a little micro shift. And that's, I'm gonna mix it in right now, you're gonna hear it. So if you have headphones, you just heard it move from here out to the sides of your head. We're gonna do just a little bit of mastering on this. Let's take a listen to the full thing. That's pretty good for an hour and a half. I feel pretty good about that, going straight from scratch. Cool. This was a blast. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe for more videos like this one. Like and comment down below with other songs you'd like to hear me play or questions you have about music production. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.